Yesterday, a group of the volunteers went up for the sunrise to Mount Arbel. That's quite the effort. And it was one of the first mornings like we have now of probably almost zero sunrise. Although we did get a bit of nice fleeting colour yesterday. The day before was very different. And so we were in a heat wave yesterday. It reached 45 degrees here in Magdala. That's about 100 and teens. So that explains the lack of great visibility now. Right now it's probably about 31 degrees. Celsius, which is about high 80s. And it's going to go up to about 42 today, so that'll be a little bit of relief from comparatively to yesterday. Learning compassion. Acquiring the virtue of compassion. There's a very beautiful text in the first reading today which continues to really relish expressing God as love and loving his people and giving us everything for love. And the concrete little detail that springs out is you treat the foreigner well, the alien, the helpless person who doesn't have the support they need because you were once an alien, you were once a foreigner, you were once helpless. The growth in compassion, and when that becomes the characteristic of a family, it's not just one member, that it starts with one member. It starts with the mom, with the dad. Compassion is formed as a virtue. It's not just something you have automatically. And it grows more the more compassion you exercise. Every act of compassion is like a little seed for more. One of the great fruits of suffering is also growing in compassion, helpful compassion, to empathize. The word patein is the Greek word for suffering. So empathy, sympathy is you enter in with the person in their suffering. You share it. You are in solidarity with that suffering. And we develop a heart of compassion. The alternative is a hardness of heart, a closure of heart, a lack of empathy, a lack of sympathy. And there's a famous expression that sorrow shared is sorrow decimated, or at least halved if it's two people. And joy shared is multiplied. And that's why we all get together for parties to celebrate weddings and birthdays and all these glorious moments, and why we also go and visit a family when there's bereavement and we express sympathy. It's a beautiful quality to express sympathy, to express closeness. And then the expression can be verbal, but obviously if it's not in the heart, the verbal expression could be pretty from the lips outwards. But if it's coming from the depths of the heart, then it's truly felt also by the other. But then if it's expressed through deeds, then we have a very different form of compassion. These plants have grown from zero this year. They're wild here. The growth of nature. And imagine then if nature grows like this and produces nice flowers, imagine the hearts of people. A little cultivation and they can produce beautiful fruit. And sometimes the hearts of people around us are hardened or are critical or judgmental. And we see that in the gospel today. And again, it's about learning compassion. It's really beautiful when Jesus wants to relieve people of narrow-mindedness and judgmentalism of occasion to be harsh. He wants to keep the doors open. And he says to Peter, you know, they're very critical about paying the temple tax. Go out there and catch a fish. And you'll find 2 coins for you and for me. There's also there's a beautiful note of closeness there. Our faith is a faith that brings us close to the others. It doesn't isolate us from people. There are moments when we need to go into prayer and have quiet and have our communion with God in our heart, in our conversation with God. But we are drawn closer to the other, also inside our prayer, as we pray for others. We pray for God's blessings upon them. And if people are in a hostile or negative attitude to do things that mitigate the opportunity for them to be hostile, to have that compassion for them. They're caught in a mindset, they're burdened by patterns of thought and action, maybe by previous hurt, maybe by a lot of prejudice, judgment before the facts, before knowing the person directly. A lot to chew on, a lot to not just chew on, that it would be pondering, but a lot to practice. To look around us today and see who needs a little act of compassion from me today. And it could be somebody far away that needs a phone call. It could be somebody that I don't even know walking along in the street or at the supermarket or gas station, wherever I am, and that needs that smile, that greeting. How good it is for us to grow in compassion, how good it is for humanity. And it spreads like these little ripples here in the water. They're very tenuous today, very calm. And every act of kindness has its effect, and maybe multiple effects. Oh, there comes the sun. I was just going to close down and say goodbye, but there we have the sun. People, God bless you. See you later, alligators. We get one more glimpse of the sun here before we leave. And I'll switch over to Instagram now. The morning is very full, so we'll keep it short and sweet this morning. And wish you many, many blessings. Here comes the sun. It's all right.